Are you ready for a crisis? Government says stock up for 3 days. Guys, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and this is what the British government is telling its people to be prepared for. For what exactly? Well, for a new pandemic, floods, a cyber attack, and nuclear war. I mean, that is pretty diverse, and not in the rainbow cultural thing diverse. No, this is diverse in terms of some serious disasters. Well, this is what they're saying as of right now.
Look at this story as well. We referenced this a little earlier. Families today are being urged to stockpile 3 days' worth of tinned food, water, and also batteries. Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden has unveiled a new website aimed at helping households deal with potential risks ranging from flooding and power outages to biosecurity crisis like a further pandemic.
Okay, well, there's the website, preparecampaign.gov.uk, and it says a bunch of things like having 3 days of food, a couple bottles of water, and some candles. That's cute, but if you really want to be prepared, I strongly suggest that you get my book, Survival Skills, where I cover all of that and a lot more, and in a much more in-depth approach and a lot more honesty in terms of the things you really need to be prepared for a number of potential disasters, from the most likely ones to the least likely ones. But I don't have that bias from governments in which they want to say certain things but will not say others, especially in terms of you having an ability to defend yourself and some of the things you definitely want to have. It's not the same thing preparing for a nuclear disaster, a nuclear explosion, a pandemic, or floods, right? So yes, the canned food for 3 days, that's nice. I mean, we've all gone through a pandemic. Are you telling me that you're going to be prepared for a pandemic with 3 days worth of food, a bunch of candles, and a radio? I don't think so. So, honestly, my book will help you be prepared for real. But going back to the news, why is it that now they're going with this? And as always, Daily Mail doing a great job at panicking. Panic buyers flock to emergency prepper to grab essentials after ministers urge Brits to start a national crisis emergency kit. Yeah, Berkey's a good idea. No, that mask is not the mask you want to have for anything these days. And yeah, it's okay, but it's really nowhere near what it should be. Let's look at this the following way. Look, it's not the first time that the British government tells its people to prepare. It's been the case, for example, in Sweden, that years ago, and I covered this in the channel, that not only did they do something similar, they sent to each household a manual, and it said preparing for bad times or preparing for what may come, but it even mentioned preparing for war. And it was very specific about that. And of course, years later, Russia invaded, attacked and invaded Ukraine. So the Swedish government kind of was looking to prepare its population for real, for that specific kind of thing, which is not what the UK government is doing right now. Now, if you look this up, one of the first things you find is the video I just showed you, the first part of, and then there's this, Election 2024. And here's where things get a little bit mixed up. Politics. Why is it that you talk about politics in a prepper and survival channel? Well, because it is. And you may not know this, but in social engineering, there is something regarding fear spreading and politics and how people end up voting. It is very interesting to notice, and this is a fact, that the more you scare people, the more likely they are. It's been verified over the years in different elections. It is a tactic used by different governments, but in a nutshell is, the more you scare people, the more conservative they become in terms of voting. Not voting for right-wing governments, no. Conservative in terms of not wanting to make big changes. So if a current administration wants to tip the balance a little bit more in their favor, fear-mongering, scaring people in one way or another, even if it may not seem directly linked to politics, the idea that, hey, we could have a cyber attack at any moment, or a nuclear attack, or another pandemic. When people are scared, they tend to vote so as to keep things the way they are. It could be that. It could be spreading the idea of, oh, this new, and you know this perfectly well. What is it that you do during the campaign? Oh, the new government will do this and that. Scare you into thinking that what is new is going to be worse than what's already here. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. I think that's maybe 60-40. I think that this is very much about politics and the elections. It may well be. That's why I'm giving maybe a 40% chance of maybe they know something. Maybe there is a known threat or a known risk of some kind of cyber attack. This cyber attack thing has been mentioned a number of times over the years, and sometimes people think, oh, why is it that they say that? Well, sometimes it's because they actually know that there is something going on. They don't want to share all of it, but they want people to have the idea of maybe do something so as to be a little bit prepared. I will do a separate video on that, so I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, not only buy my books, which of course I think will be super helpful, but subscribe to the channel because I'll be uploading either later today or tomorrow a couple of videos on for real what you want to do so as to be better prepared for these 4 things that they tell you're going to be covering with 3 days of canned food and a couple candles, which no, it is not. But I'll try to do my best to help you guys prepare wherever it is you are if you're interested in being ready for these kind of threats. See you in our next video, guys. Take care.